This video will equip you with everything you need in order to survive the uncertainty of college. Girl, when I first started college, my life was a mess. And don't take my word for it, take her word for it. And honestly, when it comes to finding a college major, I'm like this close to dropping out, but I realized I'm not ready to drop out of college quite yet, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to finish college. Whatever that was me when I first started college. And to give you guys some context, I literally did not know who I was when I first started college, as you guys can clearly tell. And that brings me into my first point. You don't need to know. Okay, everyone acts like when you first start college, you need to know exactly what you want to do with your life. No, you don't. Says who? If we're being real, high school counselors push down your throat this agenda that you have to go straight to a 4-year college and that you have to know your 6-year plan at 18 years old. Be for real. That is not realistic for most people, especially when everyone's questioning if college is even worth it anymore. Take a second, slow down, you're not behind. If you choose to go to a 4-year versus community college versus whatever you choose to do with your life, this is your life. You do not need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the first step. And a lot of people aren't gonna like me for this, but college isn't a scam. It's just what you make of it. If you make college out to be a scam in your own life, then yeah, you're gonna see your degree as a scam. You're gonna see the field you go into as a scam. If you go into college with this idea that your parents are making you go and you're not gonna get anything out of it, then yeah, you're gonna leave college feeling like you're not equipped for the real world. Especially if you're going straight to a 4-year and living in a college town, you are literally living in a bubble. The college culture is a bubble. It is not the real world just because you might be living on your own or with roommates. It's so silly to have this idea that you have to know everything as soon as you become an adult. Like, when you are an adult, you are not fully an adult yet. Yes, legally you're 18, but you are not an adult until your frontal lobe fully develops, in my personal opinion. And let's not act like our generation isn't facing a completely different set of problems than the previous generations. I mean, come on. This brings me into number 2. Going to community college is not a failure. To share my personal experience with this, I actually went to a community college first and then transferred to a university. Honestly, you guys, when I first decided to go to community college, I felt so stupid. Like, I felt like all of my friends were going away for college and that I was just stuck somehow, but that is not the truth. Community college is not just like high school, and I'm gonna give you a couple of reasons why. Number 1, you can actually move out and get into dorm-like living with community college, and that's what I did, and it gave me so much experience, many bad memories, but really good memories at the same time, because I felt like I learned so much in 1 year. Living with roommates can be really complicated, and we'll talk about that. But number 2, it saves you so much money. A lot of people don't even know what they want to do and get into debt, not knowing that the first 2 years of college are literally just your general education. Every single person has to complete certain general units in college despite your major. And number 3, college is about your journey. At this point, you're not forced to be there like you are in high school. If you are going to college, that is your personal choice. It isn't about being in the same exact room with the same exact people you see every single day. In fact, most of the time, I was in completely different classes than the people I was in classes with. Like, I wouldn't see the same people in my classes. Only now that I'm in upper division courses in my major do I start to see the same exact people every day. But when I was completing my general ed, it was so many different types of people. So yeah, don't feel guilty for going to community college, which brings me into number 3. Let's talk about roommates. You need to have boundaries. Okay, I cannot tell you every single niche roommate situation that you might run into, but the one thing that I wish I told myself when I was rooming with literally 4 other people in a 3-bedroom would be that your peace matters. Okay, you cannot be a pushover. When I lived in student housing, one of the things that I would often get into is feeling like my space doesn't matter or my things don't matter, or, you know, people would kind of just walk all over me, and I hated it. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and it led to a lot of chaos and drama and stuff that I didn't really need to be involved in. And while I'm grateful that it allowed me to learn how to stick up for myself, one thing I wish I would have told myself when I first started is that you matter. You're not over dramatic for telling people to clean their dishes or to let you know if they're inviting their boyfriend over because you're literally in the same room, you know, things like that. You're not over dramatic for any of that. In fact, I think it's important to establish house rules at the very beginning when you have a roommate, because these things will come up 100%. Something I would say I wish I knew was to seek common ground in situations as well, because there were situations where I would blame someone or assume the worst in someone. So it's always important to go into conversations trying to seek solutions, because I didn't always do that. Sometimes I would feel so disrespected that I would go into a conversation and start blaming someone and asking them to apologize, when in all actuality that was just like making things worse. So especially when it comes to living situations, try to seek common ground as much as you can. Have your boundaries be more centralized to how you feel in the moment, not necessarily about the other person. So for example, I feel really disrespected right now because you ate my yogurt. That's a random example, but you centralize it around how their action made you feel. Which brings me into number 4, let's talk about parties. Okay, I genuinely think most of the time they're overrated, but I do think that it is an essential part of a college experience and that you shouldn't limit your social life just because it might be out of your comfort zone. Now let me be clear, I don't think you should be partying every single weekend. I know that's what the college experience kind of portrays, but I don't always think that's the healthiest way to spend your time, and let me tell you why. There are so many college graduates that are having such a hard time getting a job and maintaining a job in their field because they didn't insert themselves in spaces within college where they could network with people in their field. It is more beneficial for you to go to a fundraising event in your city than it is for you to go out and party every single weekend. There are so many different opportunities with people who are older than you who will be able to guide you into your field. I've gotten so many different opportunities, not because of college, but because of the people I met within college, because of events that I was invited to and then hired at. You get what I'm saying? There's so many different opportunities around you, and there's so much more to college than partying. That doesn't mean that you can't have a fun night out once in a while, but that does mean a lot of people are struggling within their field because they assume that their degree is enough. I swear to you, most every single college party is the same, okay? Maybe there's some cool things that happen once in a while, but most of the time you're sitting in a sticky kitchen, there's music blaring, it smells like BO. You might have a few nights where you're really messed up and you have some really bad experience happen to you. I just think that overall, you need to be safe, okay? And that means also covering your drink, watching out for your surroundings, not getting in the car with someone who you don't really know, or not taking someone home that you might regret. You get what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be making those decisions just because other people around you might be. Which brings me into number 5, don't just study, you need to actually learn, like genuinely actually learn the material. I know there's ChatGPT, I know there's AI nowadays, but that is what's going to give you a leg up in the world. You guys, we are literally living in an attention economy, okay? Every single thing around you is trying to grasp at your attention, and it's really difficult to focus. But you need to have self-control, because if you actually want to get the most out of college, you need to learn what you need to learn, okay? You can't have AI do every single one of your assignments. Number 1, that's plagiarism. And number 2, why even go to college? Like, why go to college if you're literally not going to get anything out of the classes? But even on the assignments that aren't necessary for you to retain, view it as a challenge. Because the more you can control yourself and make yourself learn something that you don't necessarily care about, the more that you'll have self-control in other areas of your life. In college, it's not about the content itself, it's more about how you apply it to your life and what you really retain from it. Even if you're taking a class that you don't necessarily care about, what you learn from the class is to sit yourself down and learn how to study better. Learning how to draft a research paper, learning how to communicate with other people, learning how to work in a group project. Don't get me started with those group projects, y'all. But yeah, I think a main mindset shift that you need in college is to have self-control, okay? Put your phone in a drawer, turn on your screen time, literally do something so that you can study and actually get what you need to done. And number 7, do not let that relationship get in the way of you and your education. The one thing that will ruin your college experience is a bad relationship. If someone is guilting you to, stop going to classes, or saying that your dreams aren't possible, or trying to make you doubt yourself in your life, that has such a mental effect on how you're able to perform in college. Do not let anyone get in the way of you and your future. That is the one thing. In fact, I feel like I see so many women get involved in bad relationships and then throw their entire education away. Not that I don't see men do the same thing, but I think socially women are conditioned to, prioritize our relationships, but you need to prioritize your future, okay? Do it for your little self, do it for your inner child, and do it for your future child. Like, if someone is blowing you up when you're in class, excuse you. Who are you? I will block you so fast. Like, literally, do not let a man get in the way of you in your education.
Bye. Block. 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 Bye, bitch.
That man is not your husband. Okay, if he's telling you what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot wear, who you can and cannot hang out with, trying to control every single little aspect of you, he's not the one, babe. I wish someone was there to tell me this, because I feel like so often we'll try to fix someone, and that is not your journey to try to fix someone. Fix yourself, fix your future. Stop trying to build a man and build yourself. The effort that you are putting into trying to fix this relationship, you should be putting into fixing your grades. And I'm saying this out of love, genuinely, but just please don't let that man come in between you and your future. Which brings me into number 8, get involved outside of the classroom, okay? This is so important, especially if you're typically shy, because oftentimes you're not going to be really conversating in your classes as much as you think you are. A lot of classes are just simply lectures, and some of them, especially public speaking classes or labs, will be with people, but take advantage of welcome week and all of the clubs that are usually lined up in the quad or the general area or wherever they're typically lined up. Take advantage, join those things, go to those first events, because that's when you're going to actually meet friends and meet other people who are going to those things in order to seek community. And you're going to feel a lot more comfortable getting involved in a club or getting involved in whatever suits you than just isolating in your dorm room. Which brings me into number 9, remember that growth isn't linear. Some semesters will be amazing, others will be disasters, but listen, your growth is not supposed to be linear. It's not like you're gonna get to college and you're all of a sudden not gonna be depressed or not have some of the same issues that you did in high school. And I know that's what you hate to hear, but those things will follow you, but they'll take on different forms. So for example, if you've dealt with a lot of insecurity in high school, you're going to get to college and you're gonna deal with different forms of insecurity. For example, maybe you're not insecure to go to places alone anymore. That's why you're in college. That's why you walk to campus alone. But then you'll maybe feel insecure about your identity or what you're doing with your life, and you'll feel like, wow, everyone else has it all figured out. But that is not true. Again, growth is not linear. You are going to deal with insecurity all of your life. And I've talked about this in other videos, but you don't just become a confident person and then never feel insecure again. All insecurity is an emotion. Okay, you can act on that emotion and take insecure actions, or you can look at that emotion and go, you know what? I'm not going to let my insecurity define me, and then go do these things anyways. The way you overcome insecurity isn't by allowing it to win, isn't by allowing it to take over your life. It's by rejecting it and choosing to do that hard thing anyways. Choosing to go up in front of the class and present yourself anyways. Choosing to start that business anyways. Choosing to be passionate about something anyways. You get what I'm saying? Just because you feel an emotion that you used to feel a lot when you were super insecure or super depressed doesn't mean that just because you feel it again, you're in the same spot. It's tempting you to go back to that place because it's your comfort zone. It's a chance for you to get out of that comfort zone. But yeah, just remember that there will be good days, there will be bad days, there will be insecure days, there will be confident days. Feel good about your progress, even if it's not where you're supposed to be. Which brings me into number 10, comparison is a thief of joy. Okay? Be so focused watering your own grass that you don't even recognize when someone else's is greener. Be so focused on your own personal development, on your own health, on your own studies, that you don't care. Because the more you compare yourself, and it's really difficult nowadays because of social media, but the more you compare yourself, the less you'll feel accomplished on things that you are actually making progress on. There's always going to be someone that's more quote unquote ahead of you, but literally everything is perception. People can fake their entire lives on social media nowadays, so you shouldn't feel like someone is more ahead of you. You don't know what someone is going through. Focus on you. And when you do feel that feeling of insecurity or jealousy come up, explore it. Why am I feeling like this? Jealousy is a portal to your potential. I've made so many videos on this, but go watch those videos if you're feeling this really hard. Talking about jealousy, number 11, people will project their insecurities onto you, okay? People will be jealous of you. Especially when you start to make progress, there will be friends who you question, are you even my friend? You will lose friends. Okay, that is one thing I wish someone told me when I first started college. You're gonna lose friends. The people that you start freshman year with obviously you want to keep in your life, but there's gonna be some people where you see their true colors. Don't make someone else's bad behavior or bad morals make you question yourself. And listen, it's not always necessary to burn a bridge, but sometimes you just need to create some distance and say, hey, maybe this friendship isn't so healthy for me. Maybe they're going one way and I'm going another way. Some people go down really bad paths, and everyone's at a different journey in life, so accept that. But don't let someone else's judgment make you question yourself so much that you stop and start becoming a smaller version of yourself. Like, you deserve to shine. Number 12, let's talk about picking a major. It took me a while to figure out that I wanted to be a marketing major, but the way I knew was because I followed my genuine passion. I've always created YouTube videos. I've always been super interested in social media. And so do something that will benefit you in the long run, but that you genuinely have an interest in. And if you don't know what it is, try things out. For example, you might be really interested in music, but you don't want to get a music degree because you don't feel like you want to be on stage or whatever. That's okay. You can go into event management and get into certain spaces in a business sense. You can get a business degree. There are so many ways that you can work in your desired field without necessarily having a degree that says music. To wrap everything up, the one thing I'd say when it comes to picking a major is don't feel like you have to have everything figured out, but if your heart is tugging you a certain way, it's worth exploring and seeing if that's really what you want to do. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe, and comment down below when you are starting school. I'm so excited for all of you freshmen who are going to college. I'm just so grateful to give you guys this big sis advice, so if you enjoyed it, subscribe. I'll see you guys next week.